Welcome back to the 21 Convention 2018 of Orlando, Florida. Our next speaker is a returning alumni speaker to the 21 Convention. He first spoke at our 10-year anniversary last year right here in Orlando. He is also a godfather of the seduction community, one of the founders. Quick personal story too. I've actually been, it was actually when I was young, when I started this company at 17, I was actually torrenting and stealing and pirating his content before I even started the company. So when I first met him back in 2016, late in the year, after our Miami convention, he actually was trying to buy me dinner, and he did, out in San Diego. I was staying with him out in his house. I was on California. And I told him, I was like, man, when I was a kid, I used to steal your stuff. Can I buy you dinner? He started laughing. He's like, no, man. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I used to steal your shit, like at least a couple $100 worth. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I got it. He didn't buy me dinner. But that's the, I mean, this guy's an absolute master of what he does, but that's also who he is as a man. This guy is incredibly warm, and helpful and a caring individual, and a complete badass on top of that. So it's a very odd, awesome combination. Without further ado, though, please help me welcome Hypnotica, Eric von Sydow, to the stage.
All right, bro. Thank you.
Enough, man.
All right, you guys ready to rock? Yeah, you guys excited? All right, cool. You know what's really cool about coming to these things is I've been doing this for about 20 years, and every year, guys are coming in and they're better off. They're starting at a different level, which is beautiful to see. Because a long time ago, guys didn't understand this self-improvement thing. And now, like, you guys are educating yourselves, you're learning, you're studying, you guys are getting better. And that's an amazing thing, not only for now, but for the future. Because we are in kind of strange times as far as all the masculinity and feminism going on and all that crazy stuff. But you guys right now are what I'd consider like the Renaissance man, this new version. It's like the digital Renaissance man. It's an amazing thing. Like, who here right now, okay, can think about the skills that you have now than the people maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago? Do you feel like you're more educated? Do you feel like you have higher and better levels of experience that are going on? I mean, it's an amazing thing. I think one of the greatest things in the world is YouTube. I love YouTube. You know, if I had YouTube when I was a kid, I'd be 10 years further than where I'd be right now. Because the levels that we can learn things is so amazing, especially for dating and pickup. And I tell kids all the time, I'm like, man, this kid's like 16 years old. He's like, I just don't get it. I don't understand this stuff. I'm like, dude, at 16, I didn't even know this shit existed. It didn't. You know, when I was growing up, when we first came together, it was like me, David D'Angelo, or you know him as Evan Pagan, Steve Pickus, Rick H. Like, that was the origination. And then when we sat down and we're like, I suck with women. And they all sucked. Well, they were getting better. But we came together and we had this idea in mind. Let's share ideas, share notes. And that's exactly what's going on. So when these young kids, it's funny because they always say, man, I just don't feel like I got it. And I'm like, dude, you're 17 years old. I'm like, the information that's out there and that's available to everyone here is just amazing. Like, you can literally go through, like my course. I have this course called the Master Circle. And it's interesting the way it took place because I ran strip clubs for 26 years, still do. And every year, like once a year, I would just be sitting there. A badass would walk in, and I would just go, I just look at him, I go, okay, this guy right here, I can see he's got it. And he would come in there, and I knew he was gonna leave with one of my girls. I just knew it, you know, just because his personality, his charisma came across. And he'd go in there, and I'd just watch him, and I'd go up to him, you know, I'd sit down and go, hey man, my name's Eric, and you know your shit, don't you? And we'd talk, and these are always really good guys. You know, in this product, I never got guys that were condescending towards women. You know, these are just good, solid, ethical, aligned, integrated guys. And so once a year, I'd run into one of these guys, and I made friends with them, and I'd share because I wanted to learn, because learning is good. Learning educates you. And then every year, boom, 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 boom. So I put together this product, and it was like a monthly membership, because that's how much it took. So I did an interview with the guy, then I break down his mindset, how he's thinking, and then I did like a hypnotic hypnotic program, because I do hypnosis. I've been doing that for a long time as well. So I take all his ideas out and put it into a hypnosis program and put it there. So it took me 24, 26 years, and then 2 years to actually put the program together. Now a kid can have like access to that kind of thinking in like 21, 22, 23 days. Listen to a new guy every day. Like, that's amazing, the way that the energy and the time shifting is just compressing this. So when you think about where you're at now and everything that's available to you, picture yourself a couple years from now with everything that you're doing, if you're committed. Who here, let me just get an idea of where you guys are at. Like, who here wants to get better, like, with women? I just want to see before okay. Okay, good. All right, good, we're on point. All right, who here is more interested in personal development as far as changing where they're at, moving forward, health, things like that, business? Okay, so it's about even, right down the board. Okay, so one of the amazing things is, where do you want to be? Like, really picture in your mind right now, like, what is it that has to happen in order for you to get to where you want to be? You know, what are the trials and the tribulations that you're going to have to go through? And you got to really understand something. Like, at this level, we, as this generation, or even the younger guys in this generation, if we got to push forward, we got to go strong. At this point right now, there is no in between. It's all go or nothing. Because I'll tell you what, the millennials, okay, they have some things to deal with, all right? But have you seen this younger generation coming up? Have you seen some of these videos with these kids? I watched literally a 3-year-old kid do a PowerPoint presentation with an iPad talking on stage. And I was like, damn. And I was like, okay, there is no rest for us, all right? Because these kids are getting born right into it. They're go, go, go. So what I want you guys to do is just take a moment and really realize, hey, you got to be committed to this because it's a wonderful thing. Because at our level, if you don't do it, you're going to be obsolete. And nobody wants to be obsolete. And everyone, I believe, really wants to be powerful. Okay? So just coming down to it, just realize we're in magical times right now. You know, all this whining and bitching and complaining that's going on, I just want to bitch slap people. I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Look at this. Look at all this education, learning. Everything's out here. It's so much easier. We should be right now in one of the most powerful times available, creating stuff, being creative and educating and pictures. Like, this should be the golden age right now. And so when you hear it, I really want you just to go. When you go back to wherever it is you are, you know, take with you all these people that are on the same path as you, that are moving forward. Because as a man, guess what? You're pretty much alone. You're pretty much alone in this world as far as what is it you want. What are you going to go achieve? There's no one else that has your vision. Like, think about that. A lot of guys are like, oh, well, I need to get this and I have to have my friends here. I'm like, no, man. Like, being an enlightened, evolutionized man is a very lonely journey. Because nobody understands the levels that you have to sacrifice in order to take it to that next level. Everyone's good being mediocre and shit like this and hanging out. But when you really go for your dreams, and you really go for that which is far beyond what most people are expecting of you, there's no one that's going to really understand. I mean, you guys had this situation where you're just like, shit, man, it's just me and me? I mean, we came into the world pretty much alone. We're going to leave alone. But that process in between of where are you going to take it? You know, who are you going to become? Who are you going to inspire? And how does that change the bigger dynamics of this whole universe that we're in? And when I say lonely, I don't mean like lonely like you're going to be all depressed and sitting there in front of the mirror crying. No, this is a loneliness of walking into the frontier. Like walking into a forest. You're alone. There's all kinds of shit around you. But when you're in that area and you're walking through the wilderness, there's no one there that's going to give you a little tap on the back for the most part. I mean, has anyone really kicked ass and went far beyond which most people were at? Anyone here? Anyone have that experience of going far beyond and creating something really powerful for yourself or excelling to be the top of your field in anything? Anyone? Okay. How'd it feel? Was it kind of you and you? Exactly. So, like I said, you're here right now together as a group, infusing ideas and listening and learning and getting the group energy of men that give a shit about themselves. All right? But you get to take that back into your own alchemistic kind of cave of life and really figure out, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm okay with being a man and being alone on this journey and inspiring others because most people aren't going to get it. It's kind of strange because I live a very different lifestyle than most people. And not a lot of people get it. I know my mom doesn't get it. I know my dad doesn't get it. But at any one point in time, you know, I have 3 to 5 girlfriends and a wife. And I was thinking, okay, this is what I do. And my wife she sometimes has issues with my lifestyle. But I kept on telling her, I go, this is what I do. Like, I have to live this. I have to live this lifestyle. I have to live this because this is the area that I'm going to go into. I've been doing it my whole life. It's what I love. I said, you know, even though you have your ideas about it, this is who I am. This is my path. And I was explaining to her that even as every phase, because as any man ever knows, there's different phases in life. When you're 16, you're just young, dumb, full of cum, and whatever you can do, you're like, oh yeah, chicks. Then about 21, it's different. Because you start looking at the high school girls where at 16 you thought they were just amazing. Now, hopefully, at 21, 22, you're looking at high school girls going, wow, what was I thinking? It's just, they look so young. And then around 25, your brain kind of shifts again. And then all of a sudden you're looking at things differently. You're like, man, I don't even want to party. Like, this is a waste. And then boom, 30 and 40. And what I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I said, it's really different for me at this level. Because I don't have that same, like, don't get me wrong, I'm still very sexual, but not when you're like younger. You know, anyone that's 40 or 35 or 50 understands that transition. It's called the andropause for men. It's like menopause, but different. Okay, so it's going from the warrior kind of hunter lifestyle more into an elder. More into the elder of being able to give back and get more selective with how you're dealing with life and situations and things like this. And it was just strange because when I was talking to her, I was like, look, this is the first time in my life that I'm now dealing with certain things. You know, I have a girlfriend that's like in every generation, 40, 50, 2 20s, and like a 19-year-old. And I said, trust me, it gets weird. It gets really weird. But the funny thing about that situation is like now I'm learning more. I'll go, there was a time where I thought I knew it all, but now, first time I had a girl come up to me and go, oh, you're too old. I was like, well, that's weird. Never heard that before. I said, so how am I going to deal with this? Like, has anyone had that? Like, oh, you're too old? You know, and at first I was just like, I said, all right, whatever. You know, good comeback. That's not really going to stimulate a person to think that you're a thinker, that you're going to challenge their ideas of consciousness. So I learned this along the way where she goes, oh, you're too old. I said, too old? I said, shit. I go, you're actually just, it's not that I'm too old. It's really that you are limited in the amount of pleasure that you can experience with people in any generation. I said, so it's really not about me. And I said, and you really want to think about it. I go, see, you have this conception of time, age. I don't. I go, the way I look at it, I'm level 47. You're just level 22. You got a lot to learn, you know? And I said, maybe you'll get lucky one day and find someone. And all of a sudden they're like, whoa, holy shit. Okay, but these are new things that you learn all along the way. And it's a wonderful journey if that's what you're going through. Now, going back to that weird situation. So I told my wife, I said, you know what? Well, I didn't really tell her. I just kind of popped it on everybody. I had all these girlfriends and wife, and this is about a month and a half ago. So I just said, hey, you know what? I just kind of all showed up one at a time with all of them. And I said, we're all going to live together. Just like that. I said, come on, you're going to move in. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Okay, well, it's the first time I'm, you know, not really first time, but they knew my other girlfriends. I said, no, this is everybody. There you go. Wife, there you go. You know, we're all gonna get along, right? Because I want to challenge myself, you know? And I was thinking, shit, man, I work with guys and they're like, hey, I got a problem with my wife. I'm like, no problem. Got a problem with 2 girls? No problem. When you're putting in a situation where you're dealing with 5 girls, like at once, it was crazy, okay? So I had this great idea of what success would be. Okay, so 3 weeks later, they were all gone. It was not one of my better moments. You know, and I was kind of thinking, like, how am I going to pull this one off? You know, and it was weird how they work because, you know, they get the little groups. And I was just watching, and I told my wife, I go, no one else is going to have this kind of experience. I'm like, I'm watching you all doing all your little crazy stuff, like little buddy over here and this little buddy over here is talking here. And I'm like, it's just phenomenal to me. Watch this. You know, and I said, but what I'm really looking for, I was telling my wife, is women that can understand this. Now, I'm not deluded in saying that there's not a lot of women that can understand this, all right? But I was in that situation, I go, I would never learn this before because I didn't push myself. I wanted to go above and beyond what I was used to, just like as you are here, right? So at any level, no matter how good you are, you get the opportunity to throw yourself out there, you know, and do something that's phenomenal that you want to do. I'm glad I had that experience. Was it a complete nightmare? 60% of the time, yeah. You know, I mean, you got to figure these things out. You're like, okay, now I got it all here. Okay, I'm gonna sleep with this one tonight and just like lay there. But this one, okay, it was confusing. All right, so as a man, you want to know where you stand with what you like and how you want to move through life, which is good because what I really understood, because I didn't know this. You know, I always knew I was not monogamous. All right. And I tried it and I failed miserably, plenty of times. You know, but this is the whole thing about understanding who you are, what you're about. Like, I tried many, many times. And I thought, okay, well, this one, I really like this one, and I'll try, and next thing you know, bam, fuck up again. And it wasn't until I understood, okay, you know what? I know where I'm at right now. I'm not monogamous, so this is what I'm gonna be going for. And so the way I open up conversations is basically like, are you bisexual, bi-curious? Just straight up like that. They're like, why? I said, because if you're about monogamous, I said, we're not gonna develop anything. We're not gonna go into that realm because it's gonna be painful for me, it's gonna be painful for you if we develop feelings because I'm not that guy and I'd rather not even start. And they appreciate that, so I don't even get involved with them. But the nice thing about it is I was like, okay, yeah, okay, I'm not monogamous, so I think, you know, 2 girls. Tried that out, okay? That was good, and I understood that, but at the same time, there was something else that I wanted more. It was just that my own personal feeling, like, and trying to explain this to your wife is a very interesting concept, all right? But I told her on the way, you knew who this was, this is who I was, this is what I do, and then I realized, okay, 2, no, where's it at? So I figured, okay, 2 with like a 3rd roaming wheel, you know? Everyone can go do their own thing, it's all good, but this is where I feel good. This is my own perfect balance. And then I was like, okay, well, 2.5, I feel really good. Let's try 3, 4, then 5, and then nightmare, all right? But the nice thing about being a man and knowing what you want and feeling content in that, it sounds weird and it sounds like, oh, what the fuck is he talking about? But bottom line is this, when you understand exactly where your sweet spot is, with what it is you want, you're not gonna get there unless you go out and you push yourself into those situations and go into the extremes, because that was extreme. But right now, if a girl talks to me, I say, I know exactly what I want. I enjoy 2 women that are balanced with maybe a 3rd that comes and goes. That's my sweet spot. I don't have to think about it anymore. I have that absolutely layered and locked into, this works for me. Because one of the biggest things that men don't really understand is, who are you? You know, what does masculinity mean to you? You know, what are your dreams, your visions, your boundaries, your beliefs? Until you really understand what your beliefs are and your boundaries and who you are and what it is you want to develop, you're not going to get it because it's undefined. And once you define it, like I had a client he came over from Europe, And he's like, I want to be more masculine. I said, what trait of masculinity do you want to develop? Like, what are the three, if you had 3 traits of masculinity, what do those mean to you? He never thought about it. So it was this vague, abstract concept floating around in his head. So if I said right now, do you guys, is anyone here that doesn't want to explore or be what they call more masculine, or allow that masculine essence to ooze out into the world around you? Do you know what it means? Like if I said right now, what are your 3 top characteristics of masculinity? What are they? Decisive? Confidence? Violence? Integrity? So everyone's different. The reason I'm basically saying this is that everyone's different and you all have your own unique model of the world that you get to respond to the world with. And as soon as you understand that, like, it's so fucking easy on some level because you're just, excuse me, X that out. On that level, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And this is where you're unique. You're not some person in the clone zone because you have your own masculinity definition defined for your reasons. Like me, personally, it's like decisive, one of them. The ability to make a decision. That's one of the most powerful things there is. Being decisive, okay? Being open and abundant, that means overflowing, okay? And also hard and aggressive to a degree, if need be. Okay, that was my own definition. And I was good with it. I sat down and I said, what does it mean? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to me? And once you lock in and you feel good with it, then you lock into place that energy. And that energy starts to exude because you're relaxed with it. You're cool with it. You have your own understanding of it. So does everyone here have their own ideas about what it means to be a masculine man or a sexual man or a powerful man? You guys have that down pretty well defined? Because if you don't, you're going to be like trying to grasp like a light butterfly, like one of those hologram butterflies floating around. You'll never grab it. It looks real, kind of seems real, but as soon as you go for it, you're not going to get it. So taking the time, which I was talking about earlier, is in this phase of life where you're all at, where I'm at, is we're in this amazing, beautiful realm of self-discovery that we've never had before on this planet. So define who you are, because that's really what makes you unique. That's what makes you rare. Like one of the biggest things that I get from women when I go out and stuff like this when I'm talking to them is they're like, you just don't match what I thought of you. You know? And that's awesome when you can mind blow somebody, all right? Because they put you in a box mentally, and you broke that box, which allowed them to expand, which allowed their world to get richer of what they thought was possible. So like one of the things I do, like I have a Prius, okay? I love my Prius. I drive around there and it's like, oh, you know, girls are like, oh, that's just, you know, no girl has ever said, yeah, you got a Prius, all right? All right? But I have had menage a trois in the Prius, which I say, that's when you know you're good. If you could get a menage a trois in your Prius, you're doing good, all right? It was a good experience, although partially, because one of the girls had chlamydia, which was not so good. But, you know, hey, 45 miles to the gallon, can't go wrong. So one of the things I want to do is, like, how can you mind blow people? Like with that, like I have a I had a Yorkie poo, got eaten by the coyotes about 6 months ago, but I have a Maltese too. So, you know, all these guys are masculine, you know, I got a big truck, I got my big dog, and I got a Yorkie poo, you know, like a Prius, okay? I do like herbs, okay, music, I garden, I do poetry, I have songs, I do talks with people, massage, light therapy, you know, hypnosis, design human engineering, neurosemantics. And so when you sit there and you talk to a girl, they're like, what? Like, well, who are you? Which you'll hear very often when you say, like, who are you? You know, and it's a matter of just saying, it's not who I am, it's like, who are you? You know, and who do you want to be? Like going back to what I was talking about earlier about YouTube and the beautiful thing about it, like hypnosis. There's a thing called like anchors, okay? Anyone know what an anchor is? Associative, okay? Basically, if I said, you know, blue, and I go blue, blue, blue. If I go like this, you probably thought blue. Now, you can get a lot deeper, but this is very basic. So that's an association. So if I was younger, let's say, okay, I got to pay $300, go to a weekend seminar, learn from one guy his definition of association. Like, I don't know if you realize, like on YouTube, you can go there and watch and say, association NLP, hypnosis. And all these videos come up. And so you can sit there literally in one afternoon, 20 minutes, because I watch videos at 2x speed, because your brain can process it. You know, so I'll sit there and just go through all of them. And by the end of that time, not only did I listen to it faster, okay, but I listened to it again with different people, like different teachers, and all of a sudden you start to get the first principle. And this is where we're at, being able to get the first principle on information. So you can fire stuff back, because now you're looking at all these different people. Like, has anyone else done this? Like whatever it is, investment, okay? What it is, like different topics as far as, you know, herbs. Like let's just say herbology. When I'm doing that stuff, I'll say, okay, I want to talk about comfrey root. Okay, comfrey root's a really great plant that's great for broken bones and stuff like this, but I'd say comfrey. And there's all these different people, comfrey this, comfrey this. Sometimes you get guys that are like super intense and detailed, and then you get kind of the airy-fairy type. You know, they're kind of like this. But listening to all that and integrating it in your neurology and coming across, man, we're in some powerful places as far as learning, as far as getting things going. So if we all grew up with this lame-ass, I don't say it's lame, we were doing better, but it's an old, obsolete model of learning. Because these young kids, they're going to get it. They already got it. So when you think about, okay, where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? Really think about it. You have right now everything you need to be the most powerful, the most amazing person that you can be, ever. Because there's only one of you. Isn't that kind of strange? It's an interesting concept. On this planet right now, okay, there's only ever going to be one you with your unique DNA, chromosomal structure, ever to pass through this point in time, this phase on Earth. There's never, ever, ever going to be a unique combination like you on this planet, probably ever again. So what is it that you're bringing to the planet? You are bringing a solution to a degree, a solution of who you are, what you're about. And so are you just going to go by and be meandering through, mediocre? Or are you going to say, hey, you know what? I'm just as good as anyone else here. I have my own unique combination to teach, to share. So fuck it, what am I waiting for? Let's go. And that's what I was talking about, being lonely. That you don't need anyone to be like, let's go. Because when you're studying there in the depths and the darkness of this loneliness or this individualism, you know, you get to learn, you get to move forward in the world powerfully. And understand that you bring that to the table. Like one of the things I always think about is like, God, whatever concept you want to do, is afterwards, he's sitting there and you do your little transition and you're like walking up the stairs and you open up the door and he's like, oh, so what did you do with your unique combination that I gave you? It's just kind of like everyone else. Fail. You know, what did you bring? Like, what did you share? What did you disperse of your information? You know, how did you make the world a better place? Did you do that? Were you cool enough to do that? Because you make a difference no matter what. You're either in the process of doing something powerful or not doing something powerful. You're either in the habit, like working out, you're either in the habit of sitting on the couch, or you're in the habit of working out. You're in the habit of doing good and making a difference on this planet, or you're in the habit of not really thinking that you can make a difference. Like one of the things that I like to do every single day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, is make a difference somehow. Because that spreads. People get inspired by that. People want to know, how do you do that? How do you live your life happy? And it's simple. So you get your ideas, who you are, what you're about, what your rules are, and you live by them, simply. And if they're not aligned, and you don't feel that harmony, what has to happen in order for you to find that harmony? And then realize it. And sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we're like, fuck, I fucked up. And I got to go back and relearn everything. Or start again, but that's okay. Because this is an amazing day. So, has anyone have any, I like to open up to questions, because I really like to, I like to get feedback, and I like to teach on that level, because we're all here for different reasons. So I want to personalize this, because I know a lot of shit. Okay, I know lots of stuff. I've done the craziest learning things you can even imagine, all right? And I pretty much feel like I got a lot of answers to a lot of things, and if I don't, then I'll probably put myself in that situation to learn about it. So I don't know, where are the microphones as far as this goes? And let me just look at some of these things that I was talking about. Oh, and I want to bring up another thing. You know what's sexy as fuck? What do you think is besides let's talk about women. Okay, if you're being realistic, this is how I figure it out. Okay, I broke it down. You can get girls, okay, by being rich, famous, or being a drug dealer. All right, really, that's kind of where it's at. Or if you really break it down. But do you know what's really sexy when you don't have that and women are still attracted to you? What do you think is the most attractive thing that a person has? Risk? Freedom? Okay. I say freedom. Freedom to enjoy this world. Because on a certain level, women, they have that survival mechanism. And they want to be happy. And so they try to put themselves in situations that they're going to have that, where they're taken care of. But one of the things that I always noticed when I was inspired by someone, it just looked like they had that freedom of flexibility of just moving through the world powerfully. And I watched it and I said, okay, what does this person have? And it's the freedom. It's the freedom to do what you want, when you want, however, because when you have that freedom to do and live exactly how you want to be, no matter what, that's attractive to people, because they don't have that. So one of the nice things about being powerful as a man and being attractive as a man is when you can go through life and you unconsciously are teaching that along the way with women or friends or neighbors or kids, you're giving them a powerful gift. It's like you're making the buck stop now with you. And you're saying, you know what, I'm going to get this shit down. I'm not going to pass it on to the generation after me. I'm going to handle it now. This is my turn, and get it. And so when people see you moving through and they're like, wow, how do you do that? And do it in a way that's enjoyable, that's attractive to people. Because you're giving them the permission to explore and express themselves in ways that they never had before. So when I'm talking about who are you and what's the goal that you want to set for yourself as a man, so when you leave here, not only have you integrated a lot of the ideas, but you've redefined the idea in your mind about who is you're going to become. Now, as you're sitting there out there listening and wondering, images can come to mind. What's the one image perhaps that can come to mind or formulate that can allow you to really feel powerful when you grab that? What does it look like? What does it sound like? And some of the ideas, because I'm big about asking questions, is, if you looked back at having made powerful changes here and integrated into the exact person you want to be, what was the first step that you took to start to do that now, that you think about it? Just one step, just to get the ball rolling. There's one move that you can make to make yourself powerful, because you already are powerful. Just decide it. Decide it and do it. That's why I said decision to me is one of the most powerful things there is. You're either making a decision not to do something or to do something. And when you have that flexibility of thought, and once you have that ability to see things, because in my belief system, the more experience I have, the more ideas, the more things that I explore. That's why I'm always putting myself in really strange situations, because I have the knowledge and I get that stretching zone in between that. Because I'm like, this is extreme, so let's go explore this. And then when you come back to like normal, somewhat reality, as far as where people are at, you have way more opening. It's called, what I consider this is, I pierce perceptions with personal perspectives. Okay? Think about that. Piercing a person's perceptions with personal perspectives. It's how you open up a person's mind. It's how you get them to go far beyond wherever they thought was possible before. That's why I wanted to play a little role play here. Because I know a lot of shit about helping people get beyond their old bullshit. Helping people get beyond the old belief systems that they have. How to incorporate something that's going to be useful for you. Because it doesn't really matter, yet it really does matter to do it. Because at the end of your life, or the transition into the next realm, what's the grade you're going to give yourself? Or what's the grade, whatever is going to give you for your interaction with this planet? And how are you going to make it better? Like, making things better, like bringing something to the table is really powerful. It's really what makes the difference, I found. Like, going a little bit above and beyond. It's easy to be mediocre, but it's hard in the long run. It's like, if you take the easy path first, it's going to get hard. If you learn to take the hard path first, it's going to get easy. Like, just looking around here, like Anthony on this convention. That's a fucking hell of a setup. I've been doing this a long time. Very professional. He's got his things down. He went above and beyond. You know, he's got the waters, everything, it looks good. Above and beyond what is normal. Doing a little bit more. Getting okay with that. Because once you realize that the abundance energy is in the giving and the serving, instead of in the taking or the trying to trick yourself, because man, I can tell you, I was a master at bullshitting myself about, you know, I'm saving energy because I'm going to let them go do all that shit. Meanwhile, I'll just kind of wait here and I'll give it the lazy way. Anyone ever do that when you're a kid? Like put yourself aside or try to hide or do the weak thing or the easy thing because you thought you were getting one over on everyone, that you didn't have to work as hard and you beat the system? Anyone ever have that? Because I know I did. And I had to relearn all that shit. And so when I get to the point now where I bring and I give more and more and more, I want to blow their mind. Like, I want to give them a new opportunity to learn and study by. Like, just the other day, one of the girls I was telling you about, I had a really strange couple weeks. I threw a big party at my house. I'd go dancers, party buses, like 100-something people, like crazy. Okay, like 3 of my contractors on the day that were setting it up flaked. 2 organizers flaked. And it was just me having to set everything up. So I couldn't go to the club to really promote it, so I was setting everything up. And I had this weird feeling all day, or all week, something, a premonition, something wasn't right. And I was working my ass off, going above and beyond, doing everything. And the party came and everything was good. And then later, I passed out at my party. Not impressive, but I went like 3 days straight, 2 hours sleep, and I made the mistake at 4:30 in the morning, because the party started at 2:30 in the morning, is to sit down and take I closed my eyes and I was out. And then I got woke into this. Someone shaking me. Eric, wake up. Mel's dead. And Mel was one of the girls that was living with me that 3 weeks or the 4 weeks prior. It was a sister. And I was like, what? Like, I was trying to come out, like, figure out what the fuck's going on. And they're like, yeah, you need to get up and talk to her sister. Now, her sister, another strange situation, you know, because I dated both of the sisters. Weird. I know, but their family's weirder. All right? You should see it. But everyone was cool with it. Like, communication's good. So I wasn't in the place to talk because I was tired and I wasn't going to give good information out. so I just was like, shit, because she's like, Eric, Stephanie needs to talk to you. And I was fucked. Like, my brain was gone. And I didn't really know how to interact with that situation. But the next day, I said, look, Stephanie, I'm sorry about what happened here. I said, you need someone to talk to. Come back here. And she said, she's good. She came over. We talked. And then the funeral came. And one of the things, like, you don't realize how powerful you're going to become until you get into situations like this. Because you have the confidence to lead. You have the confidence to do a decision. You have the confidence to make a difference. You have the confidence to boost any situation that you're in and make it better. So Melanie loved lavender. Loved lavender. When she was at my house, I made her this thing called Mel's Lavender Bliss. Because I do herbology and oils and all that stuff that masculine guys shouldn't do. And so I was teaching them about this. And I made her own combination. She had it. So I knew that, and she passed away. She was in a car accident, actually, the day of my party. She wasn't driving, but the driver flipped off and died. So I made a gallon of this essential oil thing. And I bought a bunch of bottles, little spray bottles and stuff, and I passed it out. I had like 24 of them. And I went to the funeral. And when I walked in, this family is a unique family. There wasn't a lot of confident people or open people, okay? It was one of those situations. So the wife of the person basically said, hey, if anyone wants to talk, please do so. And it was like nothing was going on. Nobody was moving. And when you're in these situations and you develop yourself, a lot of people want to be super powerful and brave and kick ass, but it's also in situations like this where it was kind of like I could start to feel that uncomfortable emotion. So I stood up, I grabbed all the things, I passed them out, all the little spray bottles, and I said, Mel used to love lavender. And I basically pointed it out with everyone, and I basically said, I want you to miss the air, because it was like in a mausoleum type thing. Miss the air, take your bottles to remember her by. And I did a little hypnotic induction, say, as you're spraying this around, you smell it. You realize that any time from now on, as you think about some of the best memories that she's ever had, that you've had with her, every time you smell lavender, one of those images can come to mind, and do all this with the lavender. And I was spraying her casket and everything. And it was amazing. Everyone loved that. Now, I could have went to the funeral and just showed up with flowers, okay? But I thought, what's going to make this magical? What's going to make this powerful? Not only for her, what is it she deserves as a person? Because she was gave a kind of a weird lifestyle, all right? And just strange situations, a lot of bullshit that happened to her. So we did all that, and I sat down, everyone was good. A couple people got the balls to get up, because that's one of the nice things about going first and leading, is you make it safe and you make it more available for others to go, okay? So if you don't understand how powerful it is to be powerful, you get to go first, because you're giving the permission to those that aren't yet as confident as you to go and to step up and to be expressive. Because if I didn't step up, who would have stepped up? So I sat back down. A couple people came back up, and then all of a sudden I got quiet again. Now, at a funeral, it's not usually, you don't go up and talk twice. So I saw that it was going there again, and I stood up. I said, you know what, I forgot a bunch of shit. And I wanted to go through this, and I went out there, and this time I was a little bit more relaxed and easygoing with it, and made them laugh and loosen the whole situation up. Then I sat back down, and people came back up. So I want you just to really appreciate your ability to be powerful as a man, because that is masculine, that is powerful, that is successful, doing that. And the family came up afterwards, and they were stoked. They were amazed. And even though I put this link, I had this link where me and her and another girl were all talking about multiple polyamorous type of relationships, and we did it on YouTube, and I sent them the link. I said, if you ever want to see Mel in her action, You know, talking. She loved girls. She slept with like 70 of them. You know, but I'm telling this at the funeral. You know, but the parents knew who it was. Who it was. But it's his ability to just be cool with who you are and to understand and accept people wherever they're at. And the family came up and they were super, super stoked. And I was looking on YouTube later that day, and some girl's like types in because I gave out the link. She's like, I cannot believe that this guy sent this link out to the funeral and gave us this thing to look at. This is not Mel. You know, and I just typed, I go, her family was actually very happy with this because this absolutely was Mel. This is what she was about and this is what she enjoyed. You know, and then all of a sudden the comment deleted. But it's one of those things. You never know where success is going to be. Because it's right here around the corner. And it's reminding you at every one point in time to be powerful. You know, at any one situation to step up. You know, really develop masculinity. This is, it was kind of weird. And I don't want to say this to put you guys in precarious, weird situations. But I've noticed anytime I've made a life and death situation to put myself on the line, because, you know, what I do is run strip clubs and I've dealt with a lot of gangs. Dealt with a lot of gangbangers, dealt with a lot of bikers, and I have a house that basically helped women get off of meth, heroin, that are fucked up, that guys are abusing them. And so I put myself and I bring in some of the girls and I have them, you know, get a place to detox and stuff like this. So it's just a couple situations that happened, one a long time ago, but just one the other day. This guy, he was one of those 1%er biker games, I'm not gonna name which one. He was the sergeant of arms, and his girl was trying to get away from him. And somehow, one of the girls must have tipped it off where he's at, but he showed up at my house on a motorcycle, big guy, MMA guy, tattooed, 6'2", muscular, you know, fighter, crazy. And I pulled up, and he pulled up at the same time. I was with my wife, and I said, hey, go inside. And she's like, well, everything cool? I go, just go inside. And so I got out of the car, and he was standing over there, and I'm like, we just had this, yeah, communication going on. And then finally he kind of broke it. He said, where's this girl's name? I said, well, what does it matter? He's like, well, I'm going to kill her. And I said, so you're going to pick on a little girl? I'm like, what did she do that was so bad to you? He's like, well, she gave me chlamydia. He must be going around San Diego. Maybe, you know, maybe I got it, I don't know. And I said, so I go, look, man, I've had chlamydia 5 times. I said, take a Z-Pack, call it a day. That's what big boys do. Big boys don't beat up little girls. And he's like, oh, yeah? And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm going to come and get her. I go, you're going to try? Now, I knew that this is not an easy fight. Okay? I knew that there's a possibility I could get shot, killed, or any of those situations. But I knew what was right. And I knew what I would want if I was in her situation for someone to stick up for him. And so he's like, well, I'm going to come back with a bunch of boys and get guns. I go, if that's what you think you need to do, do it. You know, so I saw this car pull up, and me and my friend, we had loaded up a bunch of guns. Okay, like I said, if you want to come visit, come on. It's better than Disneyland. So he came by and basically just shut him down. Just said, this ain't going to happen. Now, I was fearful in that moment. Like, I knew that, you know, my heart was beating. The adrenaline was going, for sure. But when all said and done, I felt this another layer of masculinity form from that. Like, all of a sudden, I just felt more grounded, more in tune. Like I was picking up things differently because I confronted that kind of fear stuff, and I did something that was good, okay, and put myself on the line. And so if you're in a situation, I'm not saying put yourself in a situation like that, but as a man, you don't really discover that rawness of masculinity by being on the couch or doing things that are easy. You know, a hunter doesn't hunt to kill. A hunter kills in order to hunt. Because that's who we are technically as men. We're hunters. Okay, we have that energy and you have to tap into it. And it just happened the other day. I don't know if you're on my Facebook channel, but I was driving late at night and I saw this guy push this girl and her kid. And so, you know, I was like, it's go time. You know, pull over and say, do you want me to help you with this guy? She's like, no, it's okay. And the guy was like walking off. And I pull up and I'm videotaping it because I'm like, oh, this could be interesting. And called him out, basically chased him away, followed him. Like, it wasn't the best language that you heard, but It was another one of those situations. But by doing that and putting myself in a situation, once again, I felt that next layer of masculinity. And women were like, hey man, that was fucking amazing. And guys were like, hey, that was really cool. Glad to see more of that. So remember, no matter where you're at in this whole thing, you're making an impression on somebody. As small as it is, you're making an impression. And whether you're doing the slightest nice little thing, they're taking notice of it. And so on one level, when you walk around, it's kind of stressful, thinking, oh shit, I gotta perform. But another layer, it's okay because you're human. You're not gonna do it all the time. But as you do it enough and other people start picking up because what you see and they see you do, then they pick it up. And they wanna do something different. And they wanna do something powerful. They wanna make a difference. And that's how easy it is once you get it rolling. At first, it's a little hard. But once you get it rolling and you start small and you start building upon that, it becomes easier. And then all of a sudden, other people want to be like emulated by you. And you ask them, and that's what I'm saying, why it's so powerful to have your own perception, to have your own perspective. Because you can pierce right through people's bullshit and listen to their erroneous beliefs and their erroneous ways that they look at the world, because you figured out a way and you made it better. That's why I say when you're talking about your ideas and your perspectives, like if anyone wants to come up right now, watch how fast this shit can happen. Because I've put myself in the situations, I've gone in the extreme, gave myself the flexibility to stretch, to learn that, and then come back to reality, where most people are at. And then I'm like, whoa, I got all this room to work with. It's an amazing thing. So where in your life can you do that? Like, how can you push yourself a little bit further beyond? Like, here's another weird experiment I'm doing, like, right now, and I'm ending it, like, Monday, okay? Most of the time, I'm pretty much vegan. I eat live food. I grow my own food and stuff like this. Now, one of the things that I've done with the health stuff is I put myself in situations to heal myself because I want to know what's going on. So, and I didn't eat meat or any of this stuff. So, roughly about 3 months ago, I decided to try something. Now, this is going to sound stupid, all right? But just understand where I'm coming from. I wanted to see if I could get diabetes, all right? Get diabetes, eat meat, eat shitty, see what it does to my energy. And I've done this a few times, but not to this level. So I'm at the level, like I woke up today and I've been eating a bunch of shit. People are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, now I can help people get past this. Because I look down and my fucking ankle's all swollen, my blood sugar's up, my energy sucks. For the most part, I mean, it's pretty good, but for most people, but usually it's a lot better. And I know how my body feels, how my blood pressure is, my breathing, everything. But I also know that I have what it takes to undo all that. And now when a person's in that situation, as stupid as it sounds for most people, okay? I even tried to I know this is gonna sound stupid, and some people may get mad, but even cancer. I wanna say, let's see if I can do this. Because I believe 100% the human body is amazing. It can heal itself. That's what it does. And to come back and show that, so when I'm in those situations where I'm dealing with people, I can say, look, this is how simple it is. Because diabetes is curable, absolutely 100%. Okay, and a lot of other things are too. But if I didn't go there, I'm not going to have that credibility or that the confidence or the resilience of saying what I believe and having them believe it. So as weird as it is, and I wouldn't recommend this because on some level, but understand that's when you're talking to people that credibility comes across because you've been there before. So when clients come to me and I'm talking about women, I'm like, dude, this is what it is. Simple, okay? Because I went there, burned myself. I got my heart broken, beat up, all kinds of shit. But that's where you really bring that powerful perspective to life. Because in the long run, you get to look back on it and be like, did I live or did I not live? And I'll show you how quick it is as far as like the way to break down beliefs as far as stuff like this. Like I think we have, so it's 53 minutes, meaning that we have 7 minutes left. How's that work? Anyone? So I have 7 minutes left. Is that with questions and answers or? Okay, cool. So, man, I want to talk about a bunch of shit. Let me just make sure. All right, well, oh well. Didn't get to any of it. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, take a question. If you want me to break down someone's belief real quickly and show you how fast things can work. And one of the things I'm going to say, if you really want to get good at being powerful, it's one of the top things that I tell all my students in my membership courses. Learn. There's two things in NLP everything breaks down to, okay? It's reframing a situation, okay? And basically anchors and association, how things are wired together in the brain, okay? So one of the things I highly recommend that everyone does is look into what they call sleight of mouth patterns. Sleight of mouth patterns or mind lines. Super powerful if you want to have powerful communication. Basically, it's a model of 14 different patterns that you can take any idea and belief in, transcend it, overcome it, widen the gap, redefine it. So if anyone wanted to step up and have some, I would show you if you say, hey, I got a quick belief you want to break down, let me know, and watch how fast change can happen. Okay, because there is no excuse anymore. Change happens quickly. People are doing it automatically. This old model is bullshit. Okay, so you can sit there and try if you're looking for a secondary gain to get attention or to get anything that you're trying to get, but people are going to move on. Shit's moving way too fast. What's up, bud?
Hi. So you might have started to answer this question as I was walking up here. I was just going to ask if there are aspects of your skill set, like NLP and game, that all of us in this room should master at a basic level in our everyday interactions to get what we need.
Yeah, well, it's not what you need, it's to get what you want to create. So understand the difference between that. Because what you need and what you want to create are two totally different things. Everyone usually gets what they need. But to move it to the next level, to get what you want, and that you're going to be proud of looking back at having done that, it's a different level. All right? So one of the things I always say is calibration skills are huge. I'm amazed that guys walk up to girls and they can't see them walking backwards. Girls are like, oh shit. Calibration's huge. I just did a video. It's probably not the most well-liked video in the world, but if you look on, I have a YouTube channel called just Hypnotica, but I did one and I broke down the testimony of that Dr. Ford in the Kavanaugh case. Interesting. Shit that most people don't see. Okay, as far as like the patterns that she does, as far as like when she goes into certain things of like lying, or things when she's shifting. Now, it's a generalization, but if you really want to see how calibration works, that's it. Because when I'm working with a person, like I can instantly show where their bullshit is. And if you're not paying attention to a person, then you're not really giving them the due justice of what they need or what they feel. So one of the most powerful things to do is, and I said it last year at the same convention, is focus on that person so much, 100%, that you absolutely forget about yourself. You become super focused on them. And there's lots of ways to train calibration skills. That's one. The other is learn to master the language. And that's come from like those books, Sleight of Mouth. Like the real basic one is from Doug O'Brien. He has got a great book. But when you can sit there, and I don't play therapist, okay, anymore. Okay, I was that Captain Mr. Saver person, all right? All right, so I don't do that anymore. But when a person pays, it's on. Or a person's working with me and part of a student, it's on. And that's how good it is, because you can save people's lives like that, just with a simple switch. So sleight of mouth, learn calibration skills, and just be healthy. That's going to make the difference.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi there. Here on your left.
Where? Oh,
So
there was one over there.
yeah, there's one. So how do you train your brain to take better decision faster?
To me, it's been through mistakes. I mean, I can think that something's right. A lot of times it's not. Like, everything that I do, I always end up successful. But man, I trip and fucking tumble and fall, and my wife gets pissed because she don't understand the whole process of creation. Like with this whole house thing, this party, my house is fucking a mess. All right? But I'm like, you don't understand. She's like really particular like this. And I'm like, rip it all up and then bring it back together. But so you have to make the mistakes. And that's a big thing, is if you're afraid to make mistakes, you ain't gonna do shit. So training your brain to do that and realizing, okay, how can you do it faster and retrain it? Because like the myelin in your head, it's the neurotransmitters that fire back. Every time you do something, you start to wire it in more and more. So every time it fires off and you do it again successfully, and you do it again, and you do it again. Like there is no perfection, but there is progress, and you keep on doing it and learning it. So I know it's kind of a vague answer, but
that's pretty good. Thank
pretty
you.
good. What could make it better? What would you what would you need to learn in order for it to be better? So you walked out of here going, "Fuck yeah." I really shouldn't be cussing. I'm sorry. I read the speaker's notes.
That's a good question, but
No, you said it's a good question,
I think it's,
but hey, hold on,
it's
stop,
really
stop,
about
stop,
making
stop,
decisions
stop.
faster.
Stop. Okay. Listen to what you said. It's a good question, but which negated that what you just said. Okay, but I want you to understand, what it is, because if you don't have that defined, what that means, you're going to be searching. So you really have to understand what it actually means for you to have and make those good decisions and what it's going to look like in order for you to do that.
Yeah, the question was more about if you can wire your brain in a way that you gain better intuition about the situation, and you make, instead of making the same mistakes over again, then you discover some new situation.
To me, it's simple, man. You got to know that environment. You got to know that environment and put yourself in that environment. That's where it's at. You can't, and that's a big mistake a lot of people make, is they try to get by easy, wishing that they knew everything at once. You can learn stuff really fast, quickly, but in order to have a real thorough integration, that takes sometimes years. And the more you're in that environment, the better off you are, because then you can really look around and figure out, like bouncing, when I was bouncing for years. At first I wasn't aware of shit, but the intuition comes after years and years and years of realizing that you got hit in the back of the head by a chair, or who's going to pick the first fight. So like if you ever see me eating, you're never going to see my back exposed. But these are the situations. Wherever it is you are, understand that, and then always realize that there's so many little things that are hiding in the environment already that haven't yet exposed themselves to you for you to learn even that higher level. It's the difference between amateur and professional. The only difference is that person, the professional, has been in there and sees a lot more of the differences that the amateur doesn't see. That makes sense?
That makes sense. So true experience, basically.
There's nothing beats experience.
Okay.
I mean, is this true for everyone? Does anyone realize, did anyone else think that? Experience is the shit.
All right, we've got time for one more question.
Oh, come on. Two?
Hi, thanks for sharing today. Can you explain the benefits that you've gotten from hypnosis, like what you've experienced and what others have experienced through what you've taught about hypnosis?
Yeah. So I believe that this world, we're bombarded right now, especially, by negative bullshit, negative stuff in the world coming at us from every angle, whether it's financial, whether it's news, whether it's just in general. So I look at it like this. The way I look at it is who are my enemies? And I don't look at it as just some dual duality of good versus bad, okay? Or light and black or whatever. I look at it like, who are my allies? So if I'm getting bombarded all the time with negative stuff, negative ideas, okay, what are my allies? Who do I have? And so me personally, I have my speakers that I love to listen to. So I say, okay, I'm getting bombarded by this amount. What can I do? So hypnosis is good. Herbs, herbs are good. So if I'm getting bombarded, what's going to be the herb that helps get me over the next spot? What about the people? So really, it's really about allies. And who's going to be there? Because I listen to hypnosis when I'm down, when I'm getting grinded out, when life's fucking shaking me up and down and pounding me into the ground, which happens a lot, okay? But I'm good with it because I'm positive about the situation. I just know that I'm getting grinded out because I put myself in those experiences. I have my routine. I know exactly what it is. When I'm grinded out, this is what I do. I start listening to either my hypnosis tapes or someone else's hypnosis tapes. When I'm working out, okay, I have to get to the gym because the exercise releases a lot of the good chemicals. That's the fastest way to get out of a funk, is to do a cardio, all right? But then I also go get a massage and I get a chiropractor adjustment, okay? And this is also another thing, but do the whole jerking off, kind of save the energy and build it up. Semen retention, and I build it up. And within 3 days, I'm back firing super strong. So when you're talking about the hypnosis and all this other stuff, to me, it's a matter of what's going to reinforce what you want. Because the world doesn't really want to enforce anything on you. So you got to pick and choose your allies properly. And you have to put that time into it. Like if you're not spending a certain amount of time every day with your allies, with the things that are going to make you stronger, healthier, then you're really missing it, because the world is like a slow suck. It's going to drag you down if you're not maintaining it. And you're not sharpening your sword. You have to constantly sharpen your sword. And sometimes I don't. And I realize that all of a sudden I'm in a situation where I'm like, shit, I got to work a lot harder. So really just think about that, because you can pick what it is. Hypnosis is nothing more than really slowing down the functioning of your mind to really install what it is you want. I mean, it's any other thought other than the state that you're in right now. It's just ability to slow down and basically say, what is it that I want? How will I get there? And how will I make this better? Okay, and matter of fact, I told Anthony this before, because I was talking about that program earlier. It's weird how this all ties together with that question. But I put that whole thing out. Like, this took me years. Guys, the program itself like $2,000. I told Anthony, I go, you want to throw him a good deal? Like, just because I can, because I choose to. I said, this is like $2,000, guys. I said, just don't tell people that I gave this deal, because they might get mad. But I just said, I offered it. I said, I'll sell that whole thing, the 24 trances, okay, the interviews with the best guys that I ever came across in there, and access to everything else. I said, I'll give it to them for like $150. That's the thing if they wanted it. So if you want to do something, I would suggest that, because fuck, it's good. I was listening to it the other day, and I was charging myself up, and I'm like, damn, that's some good ass shit. So literally, like, if you got that on my site, it would cost you like $2,000, because it's a lot of shit. But if you want there, I told Anthony, anyone who wants to do it in the seminar, just the one time only, dude, I'll give it to him $150. They can have access to everything. And the stuff that I teach in my site on my membership, you're not going to learn anywhere else, guaranteed. I talk about a lot of really deep stuff as far as, women, as far as getting women to learn how to come when they can't come, like all the neurological sexual stuff. So, well, I'm going to try there, but I think Anthony has that, right? I think he's got it somewhere. Yeah, somewhere. So you can talk to Anthony about that, but he's got the link and we'll send it over. It's good stuff, but absolutely 100% a must. Nobody's going to power themselves through life without working with your allies. And allies are a good thing, man. You just pick out what the allies are for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's give it up for Hypnotica.